something. And we're going to talk about the lack of minority ownership in professional sports. So we're talking about across the board. We're talking about football. We're talking about basketball. We're talking about baseball. There are very few minority owners across the landscape. And I kind of wanted I wanted to pick you guys' brain about why you think that is. Like, let me say it like this. Take the racial divide out of it and talk around it, if you can.
Okay.
You said take it out?
Take the whole thing about race out. And if you still have an opinion on why minority ownership is where it is, state your opinion. And if you don't, then we're going to roll back. I want to hear if anybody has anything outside of race that you think, at the very least, contributes to it.
Short.
May not be the whole thing, but contributes to it.
Okay. Short, sweet, and to the point. Niggas don't know how to spend money. Don't know how to put investments right. Short, sweet, to the point. Investments. Our ancestors didn't. Well, a lot of people didn't tell their younger people how to do it, so they wouldn't know generational wealth.
Niggas do know how to invest. How you think Black Wall Street got up? You know what I'm saying? I think, we had the Negro leagues and everything. It's just that white folks got their money. It's nothing but racism. Nothing but racism, because that's how they got the upper hand. You see the landscape. They're the majority owners of everything in the land. So, and we know the history. So, 2 + 2. I mean, it's simply that they got more money. They were able to buy out, they're able to buy out leagues, even if another league, wants to resist and, try to compete, they'll strong arm them, they control the whole market, so nah, it's strictly because of racism.
But see,
go ahead.
Okay. But see, like that was my point. At least we don't know a lot of black millionaires and billionaires, because how many are there that we know in the world? Honestly, you don't see them in front of the cameras. You don't see them pushing themselves out there like that, or the media doesn't show you that. So with it being slim to very few, how am I, as a black person, as a melanated person, gonna be like, yo, I want to be just like him? So without anybody that I've known, or a person like me has known, to be like, yo, we have millionaires. You know what I'm saying? You can work towards that. You don't have to just be a basketball player to make your money. You know what I'm saying? Don't buy jewelry. Invest in it, and make an investment. Don't buy that $50,000 Ferrari, which is gonna depreciate in value as soon as you buy it. So, I mean, that's how I see it.
Okay.
I think that's more at the, at the that's more ish. You got a lot of athletes and rappers that do it. They're going let me put it like this. They're going to allow you, it's what they're going to, they're going to allow you, you had P. Diddy, and, you've had investors, you've had guys in the past, all type of, millionaires. They've had the money, but it's about what they, they're going to choose who they want to, sell it to. That's the whole thing about owning. You can choose to give it to whoever you feel like it. You know what I'm saying? When you owning something, it's when to pass it to your son, or, sell it off to, whoever the highest bidder is. And, it's highest bidder 9 times out of 10, it ain't going to be, a black person. And even if they are, they still got to go through hoops just to, just to get that process going, just throwing their name in the ballot for, to own something. So I think it's purely racism.
Okay, it's not a counter, but it's a slight little right hook. You said P. Diddy. P. Diddy when he was coming up, all we seen him was buying was chains, boats, bitches. We never heard him say anything about investments. Same thing with Jay-Z.
No. Diddy and
Okay.
Diddy and Jay-Z been talking. That's all they do. All those rappers, man. Diddy, Jay-Z, Nas, man, they made
Not when they was younger.
Huh?
Definitely not when they was younger.
That's been Jay-Z's thing. That's all Jay-Z been talking. You better listen to Reasonable Doubt, man. You better go back to Reasonable Doubt. He been talking about investing. He see what he did when he did this last album and everybody was up in arms. See,
that was good.
That was for today's generation. He dumbed down the lyrics. It was real slow. He was rapping real slow. But back on, Reasonable Doubt and Volume 1, he was already talking about investing. But that's when he was kicking it with his complex rhymes, mix it in with his street rhymes and, kicking it complex, where you got to follow him. Jay's been talking to that. P. Diddy has always been about that. That's P. Diddy. That's how P. Diddy came into, came into power. He's always been investing in, many different things. He's always got side businesses, something else, some other venture going. He's got a Revolt right now. That's a whole black, channel right there. There it is right there. The marketing, the news. You go there, you get the videos, you get the videos, from back in the day and, different media, now it's just about, being able to report news and stuff like that from channels like that. But yeah, he has ownership of that. But, something like an NBA team, and especially with the money, rising, there's not that many black billionaires. There's probably a handful of black billionaires on the planet.
But what I'm saying is, we really didn't start hearing about this. We didn't really start, it didn't start getting pushed into the mainstream media. That's what I'm getting at. I'm getting at mainstream media right now because the Jay-Z, or not Jay-Z, but the Diddy stuff, we didn't really hear about him back in the day putting money away into we didn't hear about putting money into Ciroc or a fucking painting, a $25,000 painting or $1 million painting. Or we heard stuff from Jay-Z, but we never really heard anything from a Diddy or a Dr. Dre. You know what I'm saying? Because it was all kept since we talk about media, it was all kept really, really low, and everything else was put in front of that. All their flashy, blank, blank. You know what I'm saying? Everything, all that was put ahead of of them owning businesses and them having side businesses to make more money off of their money that they're making from the rap. If that makes sense to you.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think the big thing, you know what I'm saying, I think the big thing is where interests lie. If I can be truthful about it, is when you talk about P. Diddy, you talk about Jay-Z, you really couldn't talk about Dr. Dre, because Dr. Dre, I ain't gonna say he really broke the mold, because he really didn't. Dr. Dre really Beats is really what put him on that Forbes list. So before that, you know what I'm saying, he wasn't really talking about it like that. I think Drake. Hold on. I think that you heard about it, but you had to hear it. If I can say that, you heard about it, but you had to be listening. That's what I'm trying to say. You heard about it, but you had to be listening, because Diddy always had Sean John. You know what I'm saying? Jay had the Rockaware. Dre, once he really got into getting out of his own way to build his empire, you know what I'm saying? He had these beats, you know what I'm saying? 50, you know what I'm saying, for all of his shenanigans. You know what I'm saying? 50 is a relatively shrewd businessman. I think it's all about interest when you talk about minority interest in sports. And really, we're just not talking about in the U.S. If you get outside of the U.S. into countries that are predominantly other races, a lot of times white people still own them. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just it's not just a domestic thing, but it's an international thing. You know, I mean, you can go to Africa and a lot of because soccer is big in Africa, you know, and the soccer teams are owned by white dudes. You know what I'm saying? So
LeBron's got one. LeBron's got a soccer team, doesn't he?
No, he has a 2% stake in Liverpool.
Yeah,
and that was worth $2.2 million for a 2% stake.
Yeah, that's what most of these guys have. You know, those little small stakes from Shaq, Usher, and I think when it comes, it just can't be. First of all, it started out basketball started out a white man's sport. They created the game.
Yeah,
you know they had their own league and everything. The white man, as far as we know, it could have been some niggas hollering and he went and took it, but as far as we know, a white man, James Naismith, created the sport. They didn't even want niggas playing at first. So there wasn't no niggas playing. You had George Mikan and Bob Cousy and all of them. There wasn't no niggas playing, before that. So they realized that they were gonna bring the revenue in. Niggas was better players. You know what I'm saying? They were the better players. They were more athletic. They were going to bring the revenue in. So, so we'll keep you the players. But as far as owning and when it's passing down, you got the Donald Sterlings who were owning it, and, they passing it down. I mean, racism was so prevalent. Racism is still prevalent. But, it was, case back then. So, it couldn't be nothing else but racism, because it wasn't like they were going to be like, look at money, you know what I'm saying, or look at Prince or whoever else, look at Muhammad Ali. I don't even think Muhammad Ali had enough money for that, but go to him and say, hey, you want to buy the team, or if he puts his money up, they'll consider his offer like, nah, it's strictly racism.
Yeah. I'm gonna give y'all a word that is the only way that it'll change. Actually, it's not a word, it's a phrase. Fat Five.
Isn't LeBron working on something about that?
Yeah, Fat Five. And the reason I'm saying that is because when the Fat Five came to Michigan, they revolutionized, the way we look at basketball players, the way we even view the game of basketball, the long shorts, things of that nature, you know what I'm saying? So the point I'm trying to make when I say that is that it's gonna take a small handful of black people with money, brown people with money to go in together. That's what it's gonna take. That's the only way it's gonna take. But you gotta fool them to get in. Like, that's the thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody has to have the guts to carry the cross. And then once you get in, slowly start trickling more and more in. That's the only way it's going to work. That is the only way it's going to work. It's not going to work any other way. It's not going to be the XFL or whatever they're going to call it. You know what I'm saying? Because I can guarantee you right now that they'll let some minority owners in. But none of these other football leagues, they ain't never gonna take the NFL. I know, even with everything going on, the NFL is not going away. I don't care about head injuries, any of that. The NFL is never gonna be taken over. It's never gonna be taken over. The brass won't let that happen. Let me put it like that. The brass won't let that happen. So what it's gonna take is it's gonna take somebody figuring out a way in. Same way, black athletes came in a different sport. Somebody got to go in, trailblaze, set the tone, and then other people will start trickling in. I think generational wealth is a part of that, because at least in America, we didn't have it, or we don't have it, for the most part. So you just kind of got to perpetuate that. And again, you got to have cross bearers. You have to have people like the Martin Luther Kings, the Malcolm X's, that were willing to bear a cross to fight for a cause that was bigger than him, that was going to have to last after they passed. I mean, when you look at, you know, the great black leaders like those two, or even your Gandhis, you know, your Farrakhan, you know, their legends will live beyond them. You know, we'll still be talking about. I mean, hell, we still talking about Martin Luther King today. You know what I'm saying? You know, go over to India, and they talk about Gandhi like Gandhi's God. You know, Farrakhan. People, hey, Farrakhan may say some outlandish things, but he's an intelligent guy. Where Farrakhan goes, all of his teachings, you know what I'm saying, they're still going to be here. Somebody just has to pick up that cross before they close the door again. Because that's the thing. Like when you look at Dr. King, Malcolm X, they closed the door too quick. You know what I'm saying? Nobody was prepared to pick up the cross and say, I'm going to carry it. You know? And so they slammed that door back on us. And that's kind of why we sit where we sit now, is because we didn't, that torch didn't get passed appropriately. So the same is gonna have to happen with sports. One's gonna have to get in. It ain't my man Sashi Khan or whatever his name is in Jacksonville. But it's gonna have to be one person that gets in that opens up the door for other people. I think. I mean, because when you talk about, and that's unfortunately how it is in America. You know what I'm saying? You know, you talk about black coaches. You know, one had to get in for them to open the door for others to get in. You know, black athletes. One had to open the door for somebody else to get in. Black business. One had to open the door for others to kind of open up those floodgates. So, you know, I mean, when you talk about, like, really to me, before Jay-Z's, before Puff Daddy, Master P. Like Master P.
That's what I can say.
Businessman, like Master P. Had his own network for a short period of time. You know what I'm saying? It was trying to, and I'm sure he's still behind the scenes trying to build more. You know, so, you know, it may not be publicized, but I do think that, you know, quietly kept, I think more is coming. But yeah, great introspect from both of y'all though, man. I like the thought process. You know, I like the thought process. So let's segue.